This is your math gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic. This is example 11 in our series of solving basic equations with fractions, and we're going to do this problem on this video. Okay, so we have 8x equals negative 4/3. So you could divide both sides by 8, but it's kind of confusing because you have a fraction on the other side. So it's probably easier to multiply by the reciprocal. Keep in mind that dividing by 8 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/8. So if we multiply the left side by 1/8, we multiply the right side by 1/8. Now you could have, of course, put 8x, then divide by 8, and over here you'd have negative 4/3 divide by 8, but then you have this complicated fraction to deal with, which is okay, but it's easier to begin by just multiplying by the reciprocal. Anytime there's a fraction, it's usually easier to do it this way. All right, so on the left side, the 1/8 times 8 is going to cancel, so we have x equals. And on the right side, we have a negative times a positive, so the answer is negative. And we see if anything cancels. So the 4 and the 8 cancel 1, and that's a 2. So I'm left with just a 1 in the numerator. And in the denominator, 6. So I get x equals negative 1/6. All right, that's the easiest way I think to do this problem, but we could do it the other way. 8x equals negative 4/3. We could get rid of the fraction first. Since you have anything with fraction, you can multiply both sides by the least common denominator. So there's only one denominator in this equation, which is 3. So we can multiply both sides by 3. So if we do this, I get an equation that doesn't have any fractions at all. So I have 3 times 8x is 24x. On the right-hand side, the 3's cancel. I still have the negative sign, so I've got negative 4. And now, when we divide by negative 4, I'm sorry, when we divide by 24, we don't have this problem of having that complex fraction because I only have integers now on each side. So, before I divided, so I still get the same answer once I reduce it. So when I reduce the negative 4 over 24, I've got a negative, right? Because the negative divided positive is negative, and 1/6. It's up to you if you want to write the minus sign, keep it in the numerator, or just write it out in front of the fraction. So let's check and see if negative 1/6 is the right answer. So here's our original problem. So we have 8 times negative 1/6 is what we're plugging in for x. So I've got a positive times a negative, which is negative. And can I reduce? Well, 2 goes into both 6 and 8. So I could divide each by 2. So I end up with 4 in the numerator, because this is really over 1, right? Negative 4/3. Might be easier if I use one color there. Negative 4/3. And on the right-hand side, I have negative 4/3. So it checked because when I plugged in negative 1/6, I got the same answer. So that means x equals negative 1/6 is the correct answer to this equation. And if we write it using a solution set, it would look like this inside the braces. Now, going back up one more time, the difference between the two ways of solving it. Notice the first way of doing it, when I multiply by 1/8, I did that so I didn't have that kind of complicated looking fraction. Okay? Like, remember, if we put negative 4/3 divided by 8, it looks like a complicated fraction. Okay? That's called a complex fraction. But when I multiply both sides by 3 first, I could just do that little step where you divide by the coefficient of x and you don't get a complicated fraction because you had a problem right here. The 24x equals negative 4, right? it didn't have any fractions in it, so that was easy to go ahead and just divide like that. So you can sort of compare the two ways of doing it and pick whatever works best for you. This is your math gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic.